Thank you all for being here. And, this is an information night for the current 8th grade families and students, and it's all about what our high school programming looks like. So this is just an overview of what you can expect tonight. And start off with a quote. This is our 3rd year we've been doing this virtually, but we've done this for many, many years prior to that. And this quote has stuck around as the first slide for many, many years. And it's just a nice reflection from one of our past graduates, which I think just speaks to the fact that, at AMSA, we're not the type of school that just drills down a bunch of material and expects students to memorize it and then move on to the next subject or the next topic or the next unit. We really like to dig deep and challenge our students to think and to problem solve and to work together and collaborate because we are trying to, set our students up for success as when they walk that stage of graduation, and afterward, we want them to have plenty of post-secondary success. I'm going to quickly go through the AMSA graduation requirements. This information is on our website if you want to look at it through the student handbook. So if you go on our site, you can search for the handbook. All this information is outlined in there under the academic section. I won't go through this line by line here, but you'll see that math is a subject that all students take each year. There's a reason why there's 6 credits attached to that. Because it includes geometry. Ms. Schmidt, you'll hear from Ms. Schmidt more on mathematics for sure. English is a requirement each year of high school. And then you have courses, science, history, computer science those are half credit courses, which occur every other day. That's why it says 1.5 credits. But there are 3 years worth of computer science courses that high school students do take at our school, which is great. Foreign language, there's 2 credits there at a minimum. 2 years of foreign language is required. I believe that when Ms. Preston speaks later on, she will let everyone know that usually our students are taking 3 or 4 years of foreign language. Most of our graduates end up with that many years under their belt. And then we have our physical education, which is a requirement each and every year from 6th through 12th grade. In the fine arts, which Ms. Preston will go into, there's 2 years of fine arts that is required. Those are half credit courses. Students need at a minimum 28 credits to graduate from AMSA, and you also need to have successful completion of the state standardized testing in biology, in math, and ELA through the MCAS. Our course levels, real quick, we have college prep, honors, and AP college prep. All of our courses here at AMSA are set out to help students prepare for college, and that's certainly what college prep is all about. Courses that are aimed at preparing high school students for entry into colleges and universities. Our honors levels classes require a little bit more in-depth study, a little bit more independent learning, and greater effort. And then our AP courses, which all of our department chairs who have AP courses in their areas, they'll go through those opportunities with you. And those are college level courses. And that's all tied into College Board, the organization, College Board, which that's where advanced placement, all the programming comes from. We'll go into that a little bit more detail. So I'm already done with my little intro. I'm here to check the chat, maybe help out with answering some questions, but I will kick it over to Ms. Schmidt, who will introduce herself and talk to you about mathematics here at AMSA.
Hi, everybody. My name is Luba Schmidt, and I am the head of math department. And on this slide, you can see that grades 9 through 12, we have through grades 9 through grade 12, we have 4 different passes. And if you look at the left column, this is the pass for those students who need more time to work on algebraic skills before they move to more advanced content. And on the very right column, you can see that this column is for students who can handle pretty quick pace and independent study. So in grade 9, everybody's continue to study algebra and geometry as they do in grade 8. We believe it is a huge thing for us to be able to study these 2 subjects in connection. And for grade 10 and 11, we have pretty straightforward courses of algebra, geometry, and pre-calculus. Majority of our students introduce to ideas of pre-calculus, and actually 85 or so percent of our students introduced to ideas of calculus through AMSA experience. And I believe it is very important, those who study calculus and study calculus concepts and ideas, understand the world around us in, much deep and more comprehensive way. So we are very proud of introducing calculus and giving our student option to take calculus on many levels. We teach calculus on 5 different levels, from intro to calculus to multivariable calculus. So in 12th grade, we have variety of courses. So after straightforward path, algebra, geometry, and pre-calculus and calculus, we have variety of courses. Some students can continue to study more academics discipline like multivariable calculus, linear algebra, and differential equations. And some students can choose more applied courses like statistics. We teach statistics on 2 different levels, statistics honors and AP statistics. We have very kind of young course that we teach for 2nd year this year, and we'll be continuing to teach the 3rd year next year. It is math for business and economics. And of course, we have very popular course of accounting and business fundamentals. So students can move, students will be based on their performance in grades 6 through 8, they will be recommended to entrance point of this table, but they can move diagonally from left corner to the right corner and vice versa, from the right corner to the left corner. Depends on what is their interest, what is their ability to study independently. And sometimes we see that this actually changes from year to year, and some just maybe want some students want more math in grades 9 and 10 and then less math in grade 11 and 12, and we're okay with that as well. We are actually proud to give students both a very solid foundation for future studies and variety of courses and interest in mathematics that they can experience. And what Mr. Naroki said at the beginning, and what math department is really proud of, we teach students, our major goal is actually to teach students how to think. And we believe that we do that in any of these courses and in any of these levels.
All right, next we are going to move on to English with Miss Richardson. Take it away, Miss Richardson.
Hi, thank you everybody for stopping in. My name is Marty Richardson and I'm the head of the English department. And I'll just follow up a little bit on what Ms. Schmidt just said and say that we also our major goal is to teach kids to think, and to think creatively, to think critically. And again, I think all of our courses do that in a little bit different way than math does, but we're all working towards the same goal. In 9th, 10th, 11th, or 9th and 10th grade, we have 2 levels of English. We have CP level, college prep, and we have the honors level. The literature in both levels is pretty much the same. In honors, you might get a little more supplementary reading, and there's a difference in pacing and a difference in writing expectations and expectations for independent work and the ability to complete work, on their own, reading on their own, analyzing on their own, as well as, participate in discussions in class and so on. Let's see. In 11th and 12th grade, We also have the AP levels added. And this year we're changing back to what we used to do a few years back, and that is to offer either AP literature and composition or language and composition for 11th or 12th graders. So you can, you know, in 11th and 12th grade, they could choose if they can take both APs, they can take them in either order, or they can just take one of them and they can choose whether they want to do that in 11th or 12th grade. That gives them a little bit more flexibility in terms of scheduling. Both courses require a teacher recommendation. And it seems like we've had a lot of kids asking to move from CP into AP lately, and that's generally something we do not do. So you can talk with your student, your child, and prepare them. You know, if they're interested in taking AP, they need to work towards the honors level or participate at the honors level prior to taking an AP. In 12th grade, we have a little bit of a unique situation where students have a choice between 3 different electives. These are core courses, so electives maybe is a little bit of a confusing term. They're not actually electives, they're actually core courses, but they have 3 different, very different choices. They can take a Shakespeare course, they can take a Gothic literature course, or they can take a contemporary world literature course. And there's just, you know, again, they're pretty much, the course titles pretty much explain the type of reading that they're going to do in each. So it's just a matter of personal preference. And those 2 are offered at the CP and the honors level, or they can take an AP course in 12th grade. We also offer several electives you see over there on the right-hand side of the slide. Journalism and creative writing are the only 2 that are offered in 9th grade. Those are both half-credit courses. The journalism class produces an award-winning newspaper with Mr. Smith, who worked in journalism for many, many years and is very good at what he does. And the creative writing course is also open to 9th graders. And again, they're both half-credit courses. Yeah, so I think that about covers it. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. The courses in 9th and 10th grade are both kind of thematically organized. You can see from the titles. 9th grade, we cover literature from the medieval period to the contemporary period. And 10th grade is a little bit narrower focus, the Renaissance to World War II. But again, both courses are organized thematically. So they have a range of works from different time periods. And again, we continue the sort of study of classic canonical works, as well as more contemporary, newer works. But all of them, you know, the focus is on literary merit and teaching kids to analyze and understand the difference between something with literary merit and something that's maybe just for entertainment. So yeah, thank you very much for your attention. And I guess that's all I have to say about that.
All right, thank you, Ms. Richardson. We're on to science with Christina Jagielski.
Miss J, you're muted.
And here I thought I had undone it, but that's okay. Hi, I'm Christina Jagielski. I run the science department. Thank you, Ms. Bindaro. She's going to be up next with CS. With the cool piece about our science department is, well, we have 3 years of core courses that you have to take, bio, chem, and physics. Really, biology is the first course that you come into with the goal and the hope that you sit for the MCAS in 9th grade. You pass that bar, and then you don't have to worry about that MCAS for the rest of your time at AMSA, which is very, very, very helpful, and we're very successful at doing. In 10th grade, we head into chemistry. There's a college prep and an honors version. 11th grade, again, we have college prep and honors. And then in 12th grade, you get an elective, and I can go into the electives in a second. AP classes, I'm going to talk on those for 2 seconds. We run AP Bio, AP Chem, and AP Physics. AP Bio, you get first access to after 9th grade, as long as you are also enrolled in honors chemistry and you had earned your honors distinction in biology. And I will circle back to honors distinction in 1 second for bio. In 11th grade, We do, you have access to AP Bio, and then you have access to AP Chemistry upon completion of honors chemistry the year before in 10th grade. And then in 12th grade, again, all of the APs are open to you. And AP Bio in this case is open to any person, CP track or honors track. They can circle back to AP Bio if they want to. But AP Chem and AP Physics still require the honors chemistry class and the previous honors physics class. From the point of our electives, we have Anatomy and Phys, Environmental, Sustainability, Discovery Wild New England, and Meteorology. And then we have our research classes, which is really the unique piece to us versus a lot of other high schools. So these research classes open in sophomore year, and these students who come into these classes can enroll for up to 3 years. They can re-enroll into the same class. And this sort of takes the place of the reason why we don't compete in science fair and do anything along those lines is that our kids are doing real research that they are proud of on a up to 3 years that they can put the time, energy, and effort into in doing a project, following it through, failing at it, because failure is an option in research and it's really kind of fun. And it's just unique to AMSA. What I was going to say, circling back to honors. So what's unique about 9th grade biology is that we have earned honors distinction. Earned honors distinction is the concept that we have heterogeneous classrooms, which means college prep honors. All of our students are together inside the classroom, and then students earn their honors distinction by doing the additional honors work, which averages out between 5 to 6 added in-class or homework assignments that just sort of pushes those students a little bit further. Mr. Walsh and Dr. Sarah have done a great job at rolling it out this year. The students seem to be very, very happy with it. And they really like the opportunity when someone sat on the fence to sort of really push themselves if they want to do it, which has been great. And that's all I've got.
Great. Thanks, Ms. J. Computer science time. Ms. Bandaru.
Hello, everyone. I'm Parmaja Bandaru. I'm the computer science department chair. We have 2 different paths for computer science who truly want to go into programming. In 9th grade, there are only 2 choices at this point as an introductory level. So any 8th grade student can take either Intro to Java or Intro to Web Design. The issue, the idea of CP versus honors doesn't exist in the computer science department because, I can talk to you a little bit more about that in a little bit. Once we have these introductory passes, students can go into the AP computer science path and take data science and cybersecurity and networking, all the programming side part of it, which are much more accelerated courses. So we want to provide an opportunity and a platform for everybody to pursue whichever they're truly interested in. And also the intro to web design part is more with the creativity part of the students can be brought into light with that. And then go into advanced web design, UI, UX, do all of those things. So in grade 9, it seems like we have only 2 choices, but from there, it largely extends into any different path that the students want to take from there. So again, we have 2 more introductory courses in grade 10, Intro to Linguistics and Intro to CAD. So when the students pursue Intro to CAD, they can go into Advanced CAD and ArcMech Design with Mr. Morris. If you still want to continue into the advanced level web design, advanced web design and AP Computer Sciences, that's when the first time AP Computer Science is offered. The grades do matter. We suggest the students have a certain amount of grade, an 80% or something like that. I don't actually remember from the top of my head what we set for our class. But once we get that, we go into 11th grade, they can do all the rest of the courses that are offered in 11th grade, Advanced CAD, Advanced Web, AP Computer Science, Digital Media, Intro to Robotics, and Data Science. So if there is a student who took Intro to Java in grade 9 and said, no, I don't want to go to AP Computer Science, but they can go back and take the Intro to Web Design at that time. Take another introductory level class. So the idea is for them to have 3 0.5 credits, or they can pursue, go and deep into any level that they want to go, either in the web design part or the CAD part, the engineering design part, or the truly programming part. So we wanted to provide multiple opportunities for us. Grade 12 at AMSA is very unique because we have an art mech design, cybersecurity, CS engineering and research, networking. Mr. Naraki, can you scroll up a little bit, or is it not showing up? There is a full stack development course that we added this year.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'll try.
So never mind. There is another course called full stack development where the students go through the process of designing a particular application or a particular web design or something that they want to pursue till the end. It's a 1-credit course. They can go through the choice of deployment of the code, how it interacts, UI, UX design part of it. And there is a code review every week. And that's what we are trying to provide an opportunity for that. It's like a trade school kind of thing, but this is more for students who are deeply interested in that. And we are introducing it the next year. The research is offered only for 11th and 12th graders. The data science, art mech design, cybersecurity, and networking courses are called accelerated courses. I think Ms. Driver is actually writing about that. The weightage of the GPA is slightly different than the regular APs and other stuff. Please feel free to send me any questions you have. I'll be more than happy to answer them in an email or on the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mandaru. All right, we have Ms. Murphy up for history.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, I'm Brianna Murphy. I'm the chair of the history department. Starting in 6th grade, our courses approach history through the classic chronological means. So 9th grade just picks up right where the 8th grade curriculum ends. 9th grade is modern world history. Basically goes from the French Revolution era through the modern day. So they get the world wars and all of that. With the big similarity between 9th, 10th, and 11th grade is we do have an honors and college prep option for all 3 of those levels. Similar to what you heard from Ms. Richardson for English, a lot of the differences in the expectation around the workload, nightly homework, the level of independence required. Typically that expectation is higher for the honors level. In 10th and 11th grade, where we do 2 separate years of U.S. history, U.S. 1 goes from 1492 to the end of Reconstruction, and then U.S. 2 in 11th grade picks up from that 1877 date up through modern times. Instead of taking U.S. 2, students do have the option to take AP U.S. history, which covers both classes basically in 1 year. So essentially the first half of the year is students repeating the content, at that AP, that college level for the first half of the year, and then continuing on through the second half of the year to get the rest of that curriculum. Students sometimes will wait, to take this class, for their senior year, but they're expected to take 3 complete years of history, one of those required courses that's listed there basically. As you can see, there are no required courses for their senior year, but we have a wealth of elective options. There's a chart in the course guide, program of studies, that shows our alternating yearly plan that we have. So our available electives that you can see listed here for next year for the 9th grade include an Introduction to Anthropology course, our American Culture through Literature and Film, History of Sports, and then another course called Milestones of Asian History. All of these electives are a half credit, so they would meet every other day. And in 9th grade, there are no available AP classes. The first time we offer APs, as you can see, is in the 10th grade year. Both AP European History and AP Macroeconomics are basically an elective course. Again, they will give that AP credit, which is great for a variety of reasons, but they don't take the place of a graduation requirement. So students who take APs in the 10th grade are taking it in addition to that US 1 requirement, whether they're taking that at the honors or CP level. As you can see, as we go through to senior year, there's a few more options that become available, especially in the AP realm. Again, of our APs, the only one that fulfills a graduation requirement is AP US History. And again, that can take the place of US 2. So I'll stop there. I'll just try to keep that concise. So hopefully it all makes sense. Again, really just the goal is progressing through chronologically and getting students a nice, robust view of the world once they are completed with their history studies at AMSA.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. That was nice and concise. All right. Ms. Preston she'll be talking about world languages, and then I know she has a second slide, which will focus on arts. So take it away, Ms. Preston.
All right, thank you, Mr. Naraki. Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Sarah Preston, and I'm the chair of World Languages and Fine Arts. So I'll go through the languages first. As you, I'm sure, are very aware, students in the middle school take Latin, and then beginning in 9th grade, people have the option of either continuing on with Latin, in which case they would go on to level 2, or studying French or Spanish. And it's important to note that we do offer a placement test in French and Spanish. So if students have background knowledge in the language, for example, if they did like an immersion program, or maybe they took Spanish in elementary school or for part of middle school or speak it at home, they are welcome and encouraged to take a placement exam. We use an online test through a national testing company. So if that's something that you're interested in, please reach out to me. I will be sending out something in a community update with more details about that tomorrow. So for students who choose to continue on with Latin, they have the opportunity to go through level 5 their senior year. They can take either CP or college prep or honors each year and move all the way up to either Latin 5 or AP Latin their senior year. And for French and Spanish, again, here it shows the model for grade 9 of beginning in level 1, but that doesn't mean that students have to be in there. Every year we have some students, some 9th graders who are in level 2 or even perhaps level 3. So that is certainly flexible. And we have college prep and honors offered each year beginning in level 2. And grade 12, we have also the French 4 and the Spanish 4, which is film and culture. And that's a really interesting class that looks at the cultural and historical context of a particular Spanish-speaking country. And then they watch a movie in the target language and analyze that and have a discussion around that. So that is, you may see that in the course catalog as French film and culture or Spanish film and culture. But that is level 4. And the reason we do that is that if students want to take both the film and culture class and an AP class, they can do that. So that just sort of allows some more flexibility there. I wanted to also reiterate that although the requirement is for 2 years of a world language or 2 credits, the vast majority of our students do take at least 3 years of a world language, and we have many students who take 4 years. A number of colleges do prefer to see 3 years of a continuous study of a language. Let me see. I think I saw something come up in the chat. I'm sorry if there's something that. Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that someone didn't put up something in the chat related to world languages. So again, we encourage students to do 3 years at least of the same world language. It is also possible. We have had students who take 2 languages simultaneously, although it is hard to do that with a schedule. It is possible, and it's really wonderful when people can do that. And then the only other thing I was going to say related to that, in addition to the placement exam, we also have the biliteracy state seal program at our school. And this is, I think, our 4th year doing that. And so we recognize additional languages beyond French, Spanish, and Latin. If there are languages that students speak at home, they can also be recognized for those languages through the biliteracy state seal test. And that is something that we will be running again this year on the upcoming March half day. So with that, I think I'll move on to the fine arts.
All right. There you go.
Thank you. So with fine arts, that is, the requirement is 2 years or 1 credit. Those, with the exception of AP Art, they are all half a credit, meaning they meet every other day. We have a nice variety of courses that are offered, and some of them are offered every year, and some we alternate. We offer every other year just to give a little bit more variety. So, for example, some of the courses that are generally offered every year would be 3D art, chorus, which is run by Jessica Bowen. That's a terrific class where the course ends with a performance at Winter and Spring and Arts Night. And drawing and painting is offered every year. Digital animation and AP Studio Art are the classes that are generally offered every year. And then some of the other courses, again, would be every other year. Choice-based art is a class that we started during the pandemic, which was very well timed. It offered more flexibility for students to work remotely on projects, and that's a class that continues to be very popular. And the other I wanted to say too, the yearbook, while it will not fulfill your fine arts course requirement, it certainly is a class that that students can take, and it's a good way to, for those who want to be involved in the yearbook, they can take a part in that, in actually creating the yearbook, helping with the photography and putting the yearbook all together. So that's a good opportunity as well. So I would say the only other piece that AP Art is the only class that is required to have a teacher recommendation, and Ms. Makanen teaches that course, phenomenal teacher, and so students are asked to meet with her in advance and submit a portfolio, and that class, of course, is more demanding. Students need to be able to produce a lot of the artwork in their own time. So that requires more independent work. And I think that the last shout out I would say is, I meant to write down this date. Let's see, Arts and Science Night is May, hold on, my apologies, I'm going to tell you momentarily. May 18th. I want to save the date for the Arts and Science Night. And that is an awesome night where we have visual art on display, and also performing arts by chorus, a cappella, and the jazz band, now referred to as the American Music Club. So I think that wraps it up. Again, happy to answer any questions at the end about either.
Yep. Thank you, Ms. Preston. And yes, Arts and Science Night was awesome last year. First time we tried it out, worked very well. And I look forward to that in May. I feel like we had several hundred people here on campus at once, and it was all staggered appropriately. It worked out very well. All right, now we're going to shift over to the director of our school counseling department, the one and only Kate Driver.
Hi there. It's nice to be here with you all. I was going to say to see you all, but that's not quite what I mean. So our counselors have been into directed studies Monday and Wednesday of this week. We were originally hoping Monday and Tuesday, but obviously that didn't quite happen. They went through the course request process with students and then helped them look at the general requirements. They showed them where the program of studies is. So students should be ready to begin selecting courses. I updated these slides a while ago, and the line about Power School is actually incorrect. So don't worry about that. They're doing it through Plus Portals, which we know that all the students already have access to. And the lower school counselors are available to meet with students individually. And I know they actually started seeing some students today. So they can email their counselor. Counselors will be available over the next week to help. And when you log into Plus Portals, you will see, or when the students log into Plus Portals, they will be able to see their teacher recommendations for math, English, and history. There is no bio recommendation because all the students this coming year are going to be taking, they're all going to be registered for that biology class. And then in the fall, they will get the option to take the honors distinction. I see a question in the chat that I'll answer real quick. Is there a list of teachers available for all courses offered? There is not. We build our schedule from scratch every year based on what students have requested. And so there's a lot of different things that go into that, looking at space, looking at who's available, looking at when they're available. And so that information is not available until much later in the scheduling process. What teachers will be teaching which classes won't be kind of generally available until schedules come out in early June. So next slide. So students are required every year to take a minimum of 7 credits. We recommend 7.5 during their freshman year and their sophomore year. We recommend that students take an art or chorus in addition to a computer science class in 9th grade. We find that that's typically the most helpful way to begin working on all of the different graduation requirements so that students have some flexibility by the time they get to their senior year. So if students have 7 credits, they will have 2 study halls, typically a study hall every day. Sometimes that's a little bit different, but typically they have a study hall every day. Students with 7.5 credits have 1 study hall every other day. So this is an example of what a 7.5 credit schedule would look like for a student. So students would take English 9, again, regular CP or honors. So this is just an example, but they would take 1.5 credits of their primary math class, 0.5 credit in geometry, world history, bio, French, PE, intro to Java for computer science, and an art class. That equals 7 credits. The student who signed up for these courses would have 1 study hall every other day. So a few things to consider. The prerequisites that are required for courses later on. I think one of the probably most important prerequisites to consider taking in 9th grade, and I believe Ms. Madaro already mentioned this one, if you're looking at taking AP Computer Science as a sophomore, taking Java as a freshman, because that's a prerequisite. Otherwise, it's good for students to look and plan ahead so that they know that they're lined up to take the courses that they want to take as they become available. But all of that is in the program of studies, which is on the website. We also really stress looking at time and stress management. So there were a couple of documents that were in the email that you all got. There's a 4-year planning sheet that has just a general outline so students can begin to think about what might they like to take over their 4 years of high school. And again, that then helps plan the prerequisite courses. But even more important than that, I would say the time management sheet is really important. So there are homework estimates listed for every course in the program of studies. Using that information and then plugging it into the time management form and looking at student involvement in extracurriculars and sports and how much that time takes up. I think it's really important to look at the big picture because we know that sleep is really important and we want students to have some time for fun, family time, downtime. And I think a lot of times our students are tempted to take on more than they necessarily end up wanting to handle when it comes to homework time. So it's really important to look at those estimates early on and begin to think about that. We do recommend that students get involved in extracurriculars in 9th grade. There are so many clubs available at the high school level. And we have seen that over time, students who are doing things that really matter to them and making really deep connections in those areas are the students that often have the most fun in high school and the students who have resumes that end up standing out. We like to see, instead of, I can't remember what the saying is, like a mile wide and an inch deep, we like to see students really looking at the things that they like in greater depth, experimenting a little bit in 9th grade, and then doing the things that matter to them throughout their high school career. Lastly, and I don't say this to scare you, but it's something that sometimes folks don't necessarily understand. So when students are eventually applying to college, we send a transcript of grades that students received in high school to the college. 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, it's just the final grades for that time. Senior year, we give a little bit more information as it becomes available. But it does, 9th grade does count. And that is something I hear, especially from seniors. Sometimes they're like, I wish I understood that my grades in 9th grade really did matter in this way. So those grades will go into the GPA and go on the transcript. Again, I don't recommend, and I put this in the chat, looking at courses based on purely their GPA weight. We really like to see students taking the courses that they're most interested in, because we find that that is what's going to make taking those courses enjoyable. Taking something that you're not that interested in because you think you're going to be able to bump up your GPA ends up often being kind of a slog. So would definitely not recommend that. Couple of questions here I will address in the chat. So do students have to enroll in the courses recommended by teachers? In terms of course requests, yes, they need to sign up for the courses that their teachers have recommended. We have a separate process by which students can meet with a teacher and eventually a department chair to have that placement reviewed. But I think to start out, if a student has questions about the recommendation that their teacher made, they should start with their teacher and get a little bit more information about what's going on, why that recommendation was made. And I would say start there before just sort of going wild. It's important to have those conversations and figure out what the teacher is seeing or what their concerns are. Or, you know, if you were recommended for a level that is higher than you thought you would be, again, figuring out like, what does that look like? And the teacher may be seeing some potential that maybe the student hasn't necessarily felt themselves. There's another question that was private chatted to me. Can students take 8 credits? They can. I personally don't recommend it, especially as a 9th grader. Our students who don't have a study hall, I mean, there are some students, I wouldn't say a lot, some students who do it, but I think that it is challenging. It also means that they are in class every block of the day, every day, with very little downtime. And I think that is just, that's a lot, in my personal opinion. So I would recommend students have a study hall either to do some work, to have time to meet with teachers, or even to just take a deep breath and do some reading for fun on their own, or some math problems for fun on their own, whatever they think is fun. All right.
I think is that it, Kate?
I mean, oh yeah. So we have a lot of different counseling services. We do work with college and career planning. There's some evening programming you'll see from our high school counselors. Students have the same counselor for all 4 years of high school. We divide by alphabet. So the counselor that students will begin working with next year is, in theory, as long as that counselor stays with us, their counselor for all 4 years of high school, which is awesome. And our goal is really helping students find balance and keeping them healthy and equipping them with coping skills so that they're successful beyond AMSA. I think that's really important. I just want to mention, because I'm here and I kind of tell myself anytime I have a group of folks captive, I like to mention we do have a referral service called Care Solace. If anyone is looking for mental health service referrals outside of AMSA, the information's on the AMSA website, and that's something that you can access for free for your student, any other children that you have, you or anyone in your immediate family. So it can be really helpful if you're looking for mental health support, because we know that finding mental health support can be a part-time job. And then I have a question, private chat, how does academic workshop work if a student is at 7.5 credits? So study halls, I think this is not necessarily what you're referring to, but study halls are basically just a supervised time for students to work quietly, and that is a non-credit bearing course. So they have 7.5 credits of academics. They have a half credit of time in their schedule that's supervised by a teacher to do independent work, usually quietly. We have some students who have IEPs, who have what's called an academic lab. And if a student has an academic lab, that is actually a credit-bearing course that will go into their schedule. And so they will likely be either at 7.5 credits with a study hall, including their academic lab, or at 8 credits, and they'll have their academic lab instead of a study hall. That's something I can talk about, or Lynn Jarvis can talk about in a little more detail with anyone who has an academic lab on an IEP. So hopefully that helps folks who are wondering.
All right, great. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
I do think the time management piece that Kate pointed out is very important, especially for freshman year. We do have one of the bullet points here mentioned that we have many more club offerings for high school. That's certainly true, because I think right now this year we had around 63 or 64 after school or before school club opportunities or after activities in general. So that's a lot to choose from. But I really do think that students should really be mindful of those commitments as well, especially if they're in the athletic program. There's a lot to think about there in addition to the academics, not overwhelming yourself and trying to join every club imaginable, because what you really need to do is draw out a plan of when those time commitments take place, when those clubs or activities, when they meet and whatnot. So that was a great slide and great information right there. We're going to close off here. So I'm going to cover for Mr. Jones. I think he might be at our girls varsity basketball playoff game. They're down in Fall River right now. Or he could be at the hockey game. Our boys hockey team, they co-op with Marlboro High School, and they have a game tonight as well. Not sure which one he's at, but I am just going to cover these slides very quickly for you. Those of you who have been here for 3 years now, or if this is your first year as an 8th grade family, you're probably aware, you may have a child who's already involved in the athletic program and may be very well aware of how we operate. But we do have 23 varsity programs here, 37 different teams spread throughout grades 6 through 12. Very competitive athletic program. We've come quite a long way over the last 18 years of this school's existence. We're in a very, very nice place right now. So here are the fall sports offerings. The tryouts are usually in late August, before the school year starts for most of the fall sports. Football is the one sport that will extend out until Thanksgiving and usually go the longest, just because of the way football is scheduled and the traditional Thanksgiving rivalries and whatnot. But you can see we co-op with a lot of schools around here, great partnerships with nearby districts. We've been co-oping with Maynard in football for quite a while now. I would say maybe 5 years or so. Field hockey with Assabet started just a few years back. Competitive dance with Hudson is a newer co-op. But then we have our in-house programs as well. And there's at least one non-cut sport offered each season, just so everyone knows. So, some of these sports here have roster cuts, limited size rosters. So there are cuts made, but there is at least one opportunity each season to join a sport and make the team, as long as you successfully get through the tryout phase and commit to that season. You'll be on a team. So that was the fall sports. Winter, again, you can see some co-ops that we have. Girls hockey with Algonquin's a great one, and as I mentioned, we're in Marlboro. I think we're playing in Marlboro right now. Unless the game starts in a half hour or so. And gymnastics, we're co-oping with Marlboro. That's a newer co-op right there. And again, you'll see our in-house teams that we have to offer. Spring sports, real quick. Take a look at that. We have another one. We have a co-op each season. The tennis co-op with our boys tennis team with Marlboro has been a great one. They actually went to the state championship a few years back and they lost, and girls tennis team is phenomenal, and they won the state championship back in, I can't remember if it was 2021 or 2022, but we have a state title under our belt for our AMSA girls tennis team as well. So a great program. Some of you may already be involved in it. If you have any questions, you can contact Pete Jones. His email's on the site. It's pjones@amsacs.org. Same sort of, same address as all the other teachers and staff members here. So please contact Pete if you have any questions regarding the athletic program. And we have concluded. Let's see how we did on time. We started at 6:06 technically, so it's only been about 52 minutes. So we can hang out here for 5 minutes maximum. If anybody would like to verbally chime in, be great to hear someone's voice if you want to unmute and say and ask something, or feel free if you're more comfortable just chatting. That's fine, but we can hang out for a few minutes unless there's no activity out there. We're not going to stare at each other for no reason unless we have some stuff to talk about here. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. Sorry, go ahead, Becky.
Well, the academic, so we haven't gotten our updated IEP information for this spring. But I assume that we'll have the academic lab on it. Will there be a recommendation that it be 1 or 2 days?
Yes, that is determined by the IEP team in the spring. And so anyone who has an IEP this spring, there'll be discussion about how many days per week. And so students don't need to sign up for that. We will account for that in the scheduling process. We get the information directly from special education.
There's a question here about offering 2 JV teams. Yeah, that's a question for Mr. Jones. That's a question for Mr. Jones, I would say. I know there's many logistical factors involved there. If we were to bring on another sub-varsity team for a particular sport in a particular season, there's transportation to consider and many, many other items, but I don't really want to put words into his mouth. I know that he's probably received similar requests, but please, I'm not trying to deflect by any means, but please contact our athletic director and he'll be able to better assist you with that question for sure. Yeah, Ms. Driver just put in there. It seems like the chat's sort of quiet. No one's chiming in, so we can end. I do want to again thank you all. I know many people are starting to get out of here early, which is fine. But thank you all very much for taking the time. If you have any questions at all for anyone that you didn't feel comfortable necessarily typing tonight or asking out loud, email the appropriate department chair. Email me. If you have any specific questions, you can just email us individually. We'll take care of you for sure. Hopefully tonight was informative. Thank you to the department heads for being here, for taking the time this evening. We will see you all soon. Good luck with the course selection process.